Hey, Tom Ross here for a versus video with
Brian Brown doing?
all right. I'm doing a deck tech here. This is John Sutton's top 64 mono white heroic deck. Except I'm also playing with Kithian, which is a new Gideon, the Planeswalker. So I guess we'll just dive right into it. I'll explain the cards. So Kithian is a 2/1 for 1 white mana. He's a legend, and for 2 colors and a white, you can make it indestructible to end a turn. But the big payoff of it is if you attack with 3 creatures, he'll flip over to Gideon, the Planeswalker, which is pretty sweet. I'll get to him in a moment too. But let's talk about the heroic shell a little bit. We've got it's a standard heroic creatures, favorite hoplite, hero of Iroas, and Phalanx Leader. Well, I guess Phalanx Leader in all of them, but for this deck we have like a +1/+1 counter theme going on with a card that I felt was pretty strong when it was printed, but didn't really have a shell, which is Gleam of Authority, which gets a +1/+1 for each +1/+1 counter on other creatures you control, and also you can tap the creature and bolster 1, and it has vigilance. But the goal of the deck is to kind of spray a bunch of creatures in play, target Phalanx Leader a few times, and hopefully make either a bunch of like medium-sized creatures, or sometimes make one huge creature like a Hero of Iroas or something, and get through with a God's Willing. But yeah, the deck looked pretty good. I'm not sure if Kithian falls best in this shell or not. They were a Soldier of Pantheon previously. It might be better with more like 1-drop creatures, like Mardu, Woe Reaper, Dragon Hunter. That card is.
Yeah, just like more ways to, because you have to attack with 3 creatures to flip it to a Planeswalker. So, I don't know. I mean, this deck does have a lot of cheap creatures, but maybe not quite enough to make Gideon the best he can be.
Yeah, I think it's just a good card in this deck. It's not really trying all too hard to make it flip, but I do like it Kithian alongside protection spells. So for the turns you can't attack and leave up, 3 mana to make it indestructible, live through combat, you can just have like 1 mana for Ajani's Presence or something.
Yeah, I mean, Gleam, I've played a lot with Gleam in Limited, and it's like, people always think that it gets +1/+1 for each creature that has a +1/+1 counter, but it's actually for each +1 counter. Yeah. So if like one of your creatures has like 5 +1/+1 counters on it, Gleam is going to give +5/+5. So it actually does make creatures like enormously big, especially with Abzan Falconer, which can give them all flying.
Yeah, I think Falconer is going to be strong. It'll probably be strong against any of the like green-red devotion strategies that try to just gum up the ground.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess people confuse Gleam with how High Sentinels of Arashan reads, but it is much better than it looks at first glance.
Yeah, it actually is a pretty sweet card.
Okay, yep, and we got 19 planes.
Powerful mana base, yeah.
But yep, a generic little white weenie strategy. Got some tricks, got some creatures, got some 1/1 counters. All right, let's move on to the sideboard where I got some white cards. All right, I'm here for the sideboard. This is John Sutton's exact 15 from Grand Prix Providence. But let's analyze, I guess, why he's playing these cards. Looks like he has Laguna Band Trailblazer for just more early drops against cards like Lightning Strike, Wild Slash, and Ball Blight to get under their removal. Brimaz, a generic good creature. Sometimes they try to pick you apart, like try to stop your ordeal of like Helods from really getting real big on your heroic creatures. So when you're trying to mess with your synergistic strategy, just deciding in a good generic creature is sometimes good. More giant presences, sometimes they're just better than God's Willings, depending on like what matchup you're playing. Say if you're playing against something like Elspeth Minuses, then it is better, but sometimes you just want more answers to removal too. Valor Stance acts as both a protection card and a way to remove troublesome creatures. Mostly the green creatures like Plukernoth and like Whisperwood Elemental, and Offensive. Alright, Pacifism looks like just another regular good old removal spell. What's nice is that Pacifism does cost 1 less with a Hero of Iroas.
That is nice, yeah.
But, it's been a card I wanted to try in Heroic too. Mostly a 1/of if I have Helad's Pilgrim in my deck, so you can search it up. Looks like we got a 4th Abzan Falconer for, gummed up ground states, and an Acolyte's Reward, which I didn't really know what it did when I pulled it out. For an X damage that would be dealt to target creature this turn, where X is your devotion to white. And you redirect it to target creature player. Seems good in a mono white deck.
Yeah, you can probably get 5 damage out of it a lot of times.
Maybe it's red, maybe it's not. Huh. Seems as good as something like a Deflection Palm.
Yeah.
Alright. Let's see if these white cards can beat BBD's Abzan Collector Company deck.
Alright, let's get to the battles.